Blessed love and peace. This is a study session from Sangha Yosef, and specifically to the auspices of Asana Ashram. I am Professor Zuriji, aka Peter Johansson Osisi, and I'm just coming from the mountain back on the grid with the intention of doing this such as schedule it before. There's previously an itinerary for these joints, but basically we're winging it at this point. So we begin. Bismillah ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Allah wabha. Dao ka dao fei chong dao. Ming ka ming fei chong ming. Ja Rastafari. Deus nos te quies in cele santa facito numen tuum. Vahegu salam. Baruch ata Elohim Eloheinu melech haolam. Amen. Kyrie eleison. Siva mastu savejikatehim. Sabe sata bhavantu sukhitata. Vagabiyam. Akwaba upendo na amani. Fakiri nesalami. Chinta dam peramian libavme. Umanjaga. Ubuntu shabanda fakitka. Shishe. Kamasinida Damo Arigato. Pilama yelo wakantoko. Toko doka shingun. Gomanigan. God, we thank you for all that you bless us. Ata jamia yet afanami. Ado. Aho. Om shanti shanti shanti. Amen. So we begin with the righteous music study. It goes like this. Number one, we're sitting in the one. Upright, decent posture, comfortable, relaxed, concentrated, sitting in the one. Numero dos is the do-good. Numero tres is the all blues. Dee 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 Numero cuatro, I Love Supreme. Dum 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 5. Número 5. Do, re, mi. Do, a deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself. Far, a long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread. La, a note to follow. So, tea I drink with jam and bread. That will bring us back to do. Thereabouts. That's it. The first 5 steps. So with that, we begin a song. This one is Lift Every Voice and Sing. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith as the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising soleil of a beginning day, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughter, facing the right out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who has brought us thus long on the way, Thou who has by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. A new exercise, soft voice, and the big up IT adaptation concerning the verses, particularly in the first joint, the lyrics in the first verse. So that's the song for today, for this joint, for the moment. We continue on to story. So the story I'm sharing today for this session, for the moment, at this hour, here and now, is a story that is shared a while ago, over a century ago, 128, 29 years ago. And a half, 5 months ago. It is a story told by Swami Vivekananda during the convening of the inaugural Parliament of the World's Religions. And Swami Vivekananda, is a Hindu clergy in the lineage of Sri Ramakrishna, a young brother, initially training to be a lawyer, but then has a spiritual awakening, and very soon thereafter studies with Sri Ramakrishna, and then goes on to attend this parliament and lights it up to the point where he tours the nation afterward. He just jumps on a boat and like lives in the train station because he ain't got no place to stay. Don't nobody. And people see him like, yo, what you doing here? I'm like, yo, I'm waiting for the parliament. Oh, it's months away. So he ends up like staying at people's cribs and like talks it up, and they're like, oh, what's this thing called Hinduism? He's like, oh, let me tell you. And people are like, yo, that's beautiful. So anyways, he lights up the parliament to the point there's centers around the continent, even around the earth, that are based from Swami Vivekananda. He dies at a young age, though, sadly. But here's the story he shares, one of the stories that he shares on stage as he's speaking to this collective of clergy and lay leaders from many different religions, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, predominantly, but many other different traditions around the earth. He shares this story of a frog. It is the story of the frog and the well. In this story, there is a frog who lives in a well and grows up in the well and eats the things that are in the well and becomes a big, formidable, strong frog in the well, and is very content in his domain, running things and this, that, and the other in that well. All of a sudden, one day, another frog happens to hop into the well, and the frog from the well says, "Hey, stranger, nice to see you. Where you coming from? What's going on? What's happening?" And the visiting frog says, "Oh, well, thank you very much, frog of the well. I'm a frog, as you can see, and I come from the ocean." So the frog from the well says, "Oh, the ocean. What's that?" And the frog from the ocean says, "Well, it's the ocean. It's huge. There's this vast expanse, and there's all these things here and everything." And then the frog from the well gets a little bit insecure, a little bit intimidated. "Oh, well, is this ocean of yours, is it as big as my well?" And the frog of the ocean says, "What?" And And the frog from the well says, "Yeah, look at me. Look at this well." He jumps from one side of the well to the other side. "Is your ocean as grand as my well?" And the frog from the ocean says, "How can you compare the well to the ocean?" Um, and so the frog from the well says, "You know what? I don't like your attitude. I think it's best you be on your way." So the frog from the ocean says, "Deuces," and bounces out. Um, so the point that Swami Vivekananda shares in that story is that each of the participants in the parliament, and each of us in our own walk in life, are like the frog in the well. How you doing? I'm all right, thank you. Peace and blessings to you. Each of us is like that frog in the well. We have our own understanding, our own familiarity of life, the universe, particularly 100 years ago, with each one's own religion, thinking that it's it, that's it, there's nothing else, nothing beyond that. But in actuality, there's a vastness beyond each one's specific box. Um, and so, as we share the beauties and the treasures and the truth and the light that comes from our box, from our well, from our ways, it's beneficial to be mindful that there's also a vastness that exists beyond our wells, too. And that there's something that is shared, that is valuable, that is necessary from the wells of others. So, that's the story. And a little bit of the preachy afterwards, too. And it's other than a solicitation or a proselytation towards amalgamation. It's basically just respect. That's what it is. Because there's pluses and minuses with everything. But actually, for this joint, my intention at this moment, at this hour, in this place, here and now, is to abstain from being too sermony with this joint, and be further entertaining on this joint. So we done share the song, we done share the story. If there's going to be any preaching, it's going to be formulaic preaching. How about that? So this is actually the point where it's supposed to be discussion, Q&A, and additionally, but guess what? Ain't too much Q&A on this here and now. So thereby, we're going to go to the wrap-up part. So for this wrap-up part, I and I share affirmation time come out. Trying to think. This version of the formula abstains from having the ethics. Oh, look at those wondrous ashy knuckles. Oh, so beauty. This abstains from having the specific articulation of the soul I dare to be version of wealth ethos. Ahimsa Ubuntu Veritas Haya Shuma Kahuge Samadhi Shema Shabono Narab. So I just said it. Trying to think if there's anything else to share before I do this joint. I think we'll say this and then a prayer for all beings. The script was here a couple of days ago, but for the moment, like I said, we winging it, kind of, sort of. So we winging it with some accompaniment. Now, here we go. Formula. There is a sacred eternal oneness of all the universe, known by many names and beyond all names. The sacred eternal oneness lives within us. The nature of life is suffering, dukkha. The purpose of life is healing, tikkun olam. We, everyone, have a sacred purpose. We have sacred intuition, talents, and skills to heal other life of the earth and universe. Beyond and through all the powers that be, the earth and universe support us to fulfill our sacred purpose. We come from heaven, we will return to heaven. Before we return to heaven, we will answer for everything we do, say, and think. Our path is our decision. A slave awakens into a prisoner disciplines into a soldier observes into a student practices into a teacher slaves into a legacy. There are cinco ancient hindrances: jealousy, anger, laziness, anxiety, confusion. Greed, hatred, delusion are finite and temporary. Honesty, compassion, modesty are infinite and victory. It is a path beyond prey and predator. There is an ancient world path of harmonious behavior. Panchasilas, peace, sharing, chastity, honesty, sobriety, Rashtalivity, natural, modest, positive, ital. There is a hierarchy of contribution and leadership to any cause. Charity gives way to tithing, gives way to an almshouse, gives way to study, gives way to a vow of practice. There are cuatro binaries to discriminate: healthy and unhealthy, cause and effect, essential and unessential, pleasure and pain. Health is balanced with the elements of earth, water, fire, air, darkness, and seed. Mindfulness of the pranas of breath, mind, ear, eye, and speech, and the senses of sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Routines of nutrition and fasting and feasting. Exercise and rest, dirty and clean, solitude and sociality, earthly and heavenly. And awareness of the alignment of the siete chakras and 10 sfirot. Right deed leads to calm, leads to wisdom, leads to happiness. Patience is the foundation of all blessings. We stack up patience through 3 steps: be still, be quiet, be honest. In this process, the answers arrive. The prescription is to sit quietly daily for 5 minutes, mindful of our mantras and our principles. Truth is nasty, truth is beautiful. Knowledge of self is awareness that the sacred eternal oneness lives within us. Discipline of self is daily practice with the sacred eternal oneness living within us. Love of self is regularly sharing the sacred eternal oneness living within us with all our relations. Love is the greatest power. Love is a suggestion. Higher love is forgiveness. Heaven is a sovereignty built upon forgiveness. The opposite side of forgiveness is trust. We share cinco wulun relationships: husband and wife, parent and child, elder sibling and younger sibling, teacher and student, friend and friend. We honor our ancestors, prophets, and sages, past and present, known and unknown. We honor and support our progeny from the first 7 years to the next 7 generations, door for door. Our songs, stories, rituals, ethics are an eternal cipher with our ancestors, with our progeny, and with all our relations. Rivers are our relationship with land and nature and distinguished people amongst others. Languages are our relationship with kinfolk and customs and distinguished culture amongst peoples. Calendars are our relationship with the universe and the sacred eternal and distinguished civilization amongst cultures. Calendars attune us with the rhythm, cycles, and seasons where we share our songs, stories, rituals, and ethics. We do to others as we want others to do to us. Respect and share. We share the priority of Elohim, ethics, clan and family, village. All thanks and praise to the Most High Elohim Jah Rastafari. And prayer for all beings. May we each as individuals find the solutions to our own respective challenges and difficulties within life. May we as families, friends, strangers, enemies, and communities better see that all these solutions are interconnected and rely upon each other. May we as a universe learn how to better live with each other through these solutions. And may our example teach these solutions well to our children to better solve the challenges and difficulties of the next 7 generations and beyond. Together through compassion and love, may we alleviate dukkha and perform tikkun olam. Medo, aho, om shanti shanti shanti, amen. That's going to wrap it up for this joint. And that seems like a decent flow, a decent rhythm. Again, with the anticipation of there being some Q&A discussion, it's consideration of doing that after the story, and then offering it another like follow-up Q&A, whatever, after the formula, because I think the formula conjures questions, conjures thoughts, and additionally, specifically about what's written there. There's a lot of stuff in that. It's actually extremely dense. It's the product of something that is years of practice and study, of teachings that are thousands of years old, and many hundreds, thousands of conversations over the recent years with young kinfolk, with elder kinfolk, with adult kinfolk, on path, So this is kind of like a culmination of like some of the things that are addressed in a lot of those conversations. And again, this is coming from ancient teachings, um, in with a certain amount of intentionality in terms of the sequence, affirmational, um, somewhat of a universal language, but staying authentic and true to the original teaching, but applying it in a way or sharing it in a way that is accessible to people from many different ilk. Um, so, anyways, it conjures thoughts and questions and convo. So maybe a Q&A beforehand, and then maybe a discussion after before. I mean, after the story joint, and then another like open-ended thing after that, after the formula, and then sharing of the prayer for all beings, and concluding with that. So um, also one thing with with the formula is that, like I said, it doesn't have has yet to include the wealth ethos articulation that I mentioned, and particularly actually there's 16. I mentioned 11 firstly, but the actual 16 are Himsa Ubuntu Veritas Haya Shuma Kahuga Samadhi Shema Shabono Rab Nisama for Academia Sadaji Gambaro Forgiveness. Um, and then also there's the intention of including a reference to the Guyana Shigoa, particularly in the reference to harmonious behavior. There's the reference to Pontesilis, the restlessivity. There's the intention of including also the solidarity to be Welt ethos, and then also guidance from Guyana Shigoa, the law of the great peace from the Haudenosaunee, the five confederation, or the confederation of five tribes, the Iroquois Confederation. Um, so that's that. Um, we keep it under half an hour at this point, at this joint. Um, conclude with a blessing. Alhamdulillah, ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Allah wabham. Dao ka dao fe chong dao min ka min fe chong min. Ja Rastafari. Deus nos te kies in cele santa fakito no matum. Vahe guru sanam. Baruch ata Elohim, Eloheinu melech halam, asher kasanu ba mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'sok b'davai Torah. Amen. Kyrie eleison. Siva mastu savrikatahi, sabae sata babantu sukitata. Fagabiyam. Aqua ba upendo na amani. Fikiri nisilami. Chinta dam permea libov me umajekam. Umbuntu shabanda fakitkum. Session. Como sunina domo arigato. Pilama yela wakatoko. Tokodoko shingu. Gomadagan. God, we thank you for all that you bless us. Ata jame yata afanami. Bado. Aho. Om shanti shanti shanti. Amen. Blessings and peace from Elohim be with you.